Today I am going to discuss with you the legal education which happened in India through various ages. Various ages means historical development of legal education, then what was the condition of the legal education in ancient India, then what was the condition of the legal education in Mughal period and the legal education in British period, and finally in independent India. Through this series, the lecture goes. When come to the introduction part, we can say legal education is a broad concept. It includes the profession which is practiced in courts, law teaching, law research, administration, different branches where law plays a role, and commercial and independent industrial employments and all other activities which postulate and require the use of legal knowledge. The legal education stands for enhancement of human sensibility, and it injects a sense of protecting human liberty and equality before law. Law is the cement of the society and an essential medium of change. The significance of legal education in a democratic society cannot be overemphasized. Knowledge of law increases one's understanding of public affairs. Study promotes accuracy of the expression, facility in argument, and skill in interpreting the written words, as well as some understanding of social values. It is pivotal duty of everyone to know the law. Ignorance of law is not an innocence. We can see all of you must be knowing the maxim, ignorance of law is not an excuse. So ignorance of law is equivalent to guilt. Thus legal education is imperative not only to produce good lawyers but also to create cultured law abiding citizens. In that sense, we can say legal education is not only to create lawyers. That means legal education must be imparted at least in an elementary level to all citizens. So it must be taught in school level so that we can nurture law abiding citizens. The legal education in modern times is not confined to production of practicing lawyers alone. Today's scope and ambit has got widened up, and its impact is felt in every sphere of human life. The law being a tool for the social engineering, legal education can be regarded as an instrument for the social design. The history of our independence movement, if impartially written, will devote more pages to lawyers than to devotees of any other vocation. We can see our Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and all Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and many of the freedom fighters were lawyers. Legal education does not not only create law-abiding citizens but also produces brilliant academicians, visionary judges, astounding lawyers, and awe-inspiring jurists. Since law is a means for social change and economic progress, since these four classes of men act as catalysts for the growth of the society, the creation of these four groups of men should be the aim of the legal education. Legal education in India generally refers to education of the lawyers before entering into practice. In that sense, we can see not only the education of LLB is considered as a legal education. Now it is a continuing process. Even after enrolling, you are continuing the legal education. In the case of lawyers, we cannot tell the education stands once just on the moment you got enrolled or the moment you you get through the bar exam. We cannot say like that. For a lawyer, it is a continuing process. Then, when we consider the historical element in the legal education, we can see the history of law links closely to development of the civilizations. Ancient Egyptian law dating as far back as 3000 BC contained a civil code that was probably broken into 12 books. By the 22nd century BC, the ancient Sumerian ruler Ur-Nammu had formulated the first law code. The Old Testament dates back to 1280 BC and takes the form of moral imperatives as recommendations for a good society. Roman law was heavily influenced by Greek philosophy, but its detailed rules were developed by professional jurists and were highly sophisticated. In medieval England, royal courts developed a body of precedent which later became the common law. The Napoleonistic and German courts became the more influential. In contrast to English common law, which consists of enormous law, courts in small books are easy to export and easy for judges to apply. The ancient Romans had schools of rhetoric that provided training useful to someone planning a career as an advocate, but there was no systematic study of the law as such. During 3rd century BC, Tiberius Coronacus, the first plebeian, gave public legal instruction, and thus a class of jurisprudentialists emerged in the field of law. This is the history. History means the world history of legal education. That is, in ancient period, what happened in other countries. Now we can concentrate on to what happened in India. We can say that our Vedas, Upanishads, Smritis, etc., are a great repository of knowledge. Manu indicates the prevalence of law in Vedic period. There was an intricate and comprehensive legal system in ancient India. The concept of legal education in India goes back to Vedic age when it was based on the concept of dharma. Though there was no formal education to impart law, which can be understood as such, law there was karma and dharma. In India, everything was based on dharma in ancient period. Our life was based on dharmic principles, and that dharmic principles are gradually corroded and eroded from our lives. And now in this century, our new generation students, I think new generation people are not giving any value to dharmic principles. Training was self-acquired in matters connected with dharma, not dharma, karma. The things either used to dispense justice themselves or appoint judges. In the case of ancient kings, there are two types of courts. Either the king directly intervene in the matter and they will pronounce judgments, or he will appoint judges. And these judges, so the chief justice is known as Pradvivaka. It is a Sanskrit name for judge in ancient India. Sometimes judges will appoint judges. These judges were not formally trained in administration of justice, but they were well known for their righteousness and justness. The judge the person who are to be appointed as a judge must be of good character and who he might have a righteous character. These are essential qualities for becoming a judge. In local level, judges are known as sarpanch. Local level means in villages it is known as sarpanch. Vedas were the original sources of law, and the Smritis announced the message of the Vedas. The Smriti Kartas were great jurists, which were considered most ancient exposition on law. When we examine Smritis like Narada Smriti, Yajnavalkya Smriti, Brihaspati Smriti, etc., we can see it is a great code of conduct and code of law. It's actually codified law, and which is far better than our present law texts. Dharma being the central idea of Hindu religion, separate training akin to modern legal education was not felt to be necessary. During the ancient period, legal disputes were settled by mediation, negotiation, and some form of arbitration. Thus, what we perceive to be modern alternative dispute resolution mechanism were the usual methods for resolving dispute in ancient India. The arbitration or mediation what we are practicing is also came from ancient practice of mediation. Therefore, in absence of a need for trained legal professionals, there was no institutionalization of legal education as a separate branch, but the same could be said to have been imparted as a part of general education, which revolved around the notion of dharma. Life in India during this period was simple, and the form of judicial procedure was less complicated than that of Western countries. Now we can examine what was the plight of legal education in Mughal period. Mughal period in India began with the invasion of Babur in 1525 and extended till the ascendancy of British dominion of India. During this period, the emperor was the head of the judiciary. As Islamic jurisprudence is derived from the Quran, it is treated as immutable by any human agency. Further, the Sunnah, which helped in explaining Quran, also became a major source of law. A system of courts following formal procedures to adjudicate criminal and civil cases came to be established with Mughal rule. The adoption of rules of evidence introduced further complexities in administration and seeking of justice. These changes in the legal system necessitated the involvement of legal experts who were addressed as vakils, and during this period the name vakil came into being for the first time. Two Mughal courts, Firoz Shah and Fatwa-e-Alamgari, they were adopted to deal with duties of vakil. Thus, legal professionals began to play an important role in the administration of justice. Though the Mughal legal system was extended mostly to the towns, in religious matters, disputants were allowed to settle their disputes in accordance with their religious, including Hindu customs. Further, at the village level, panchayats continued to exercise their powers to adjudicate on most disputes except those involving serious crime. However, unsatisfied party could prefer an appeal from the decision of the panchayat before the court established under Mughal law. Thus, legal assistance became increasingly necessary as the administration of justice became more complex. Further, such situation also meant that disputants without sufficient financial resources were placed in disadvantageous situation. though a system of third party representation was formalized in Mughal era, people who could function as such representatives do not appear to have the required specialized legal education, and there is no evidence of formal legal education system. And this was the plight of legal education during Mughal period. And after Mughal period, British era started. Legal education in British period, the pattern of legal education which is in vogue India today was transplanted by the Britishers after the establishment of the English rule in the country. It was in the year 1857 that a step was taken in the direction of imparting formal legal education in the country. The modern Indian legal profession dates from British rule with the establishment of law courts in Madras, Bombay, now not Bombay, it is Mumbai and Kolkata in the year 1726. Meanwhile, the establishment of 3 universities set up in cities of Kolkata, Madras and Bombay formally introduced legal education as a subject for teaching. This was the beginning of formal legislative legal education in India. Then long back with the establishment of Supreme Court in Calcutta in 1774. Then first Supreme Court was made in Calcutta, not in Delhi. There was an acute need for the trained lawyer. Hence, Asiatic Society was founded with initiative of Sir William Jones, Judge of Supreme Court of India. Thereafter, several colleges started and affiliated to impart legal education so as to prepare practicing lawyers and judicial officers for the subordinate courts. The formal legal education in northern India was first ever being started in the province of Punjab in 1868 at Anjum in Punjab. Later, which was taken over by Punjab University. In 1874, vernacular classes in law were held to train the police professional. The state of Travancore. The same got converted into law school, and judge of the Sadar Court was appointed as a professor of law. Thereafter, several law colleges were established in remaining part of India. However, there was no uniform pattern of legal education in the country. Nevertheless, the purpose of university legal education was just to impart knowledge of certain principles and provisions of law rather than teaching law as a science or an independent branch of learning. During this period, that is before the independence, of several codifications have been found governing the quality and conditions of their legal practitioner. The Regulation Act 1772 recognized for the first time the legal profession in India. Thereafter, it was codified in Bengal Regulation. In 1926, the Bar Council Act was passed to unify all the bars in India and to give legal profession a measured autonomy in its affairs, wherein the state bar council and high courts were authorized to regulate the admission and the conduct of the advocates practicing in courts. After independence, during the period of 1947 to 1960, there was a tremendous growth of law colleges in India. Unfortunately, this was not based on any rational planning. These law schools were lacking even minimum resources. Many of them were without any infrastructure, that is, building or library, full-time teachers, facilities for professional training, or even final sanction of the concerned authority. Legal education gathered momentum and acquired importance in free India. India became free with large number of citizens being poor and illiterate. The immediate concern was to minimize inequalities and provide basic amenities to millions of people. With the adoption of a democratic form of government, legal education was expected to bring the legal system in tune with social, economic and political desires of the country. Thus, the basic concern of the legal system in early period for free India was to fulfill the objectives set out in the